Life very much returning to normal. I'm just hearing stories of what people do in kind of these times of crisis. It really the panic and people kind of going to supermarkets and buying all the food they could, very much a repeat of COVID, but kind of condensed in a few hours. The more problematic aspect of this was actually the breakdown in communications, which happened a few hours after the blackout. And that's what really started to make people nervous. There were people on the streets saying that things were getting quite tense because you just had no outlook on when this was going back to normal. And the problem was people couldn't really hear the news. The only way to do that was good old radio. So people were actually getting in their cars, the only way to charge their phones and to know what was going on. And there was a problem also. The Spanish Prime Minister, Sanchez, took hours to actually talk to the people and explain what was going on. And even when he did, he spoke for 5 minutes and offered no real explanation and no prognosis as to when power would return to normal.
I feel like we need to underscore just how rare these events are. I know we just had the Heathrow outage, but what's the thinking about what caused this?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's 53 million people in the Iberian Peninsula. That's a lot of people. It's the biggest blackout in Portugal's history. Even when we go back to wartime, yes, it is incredibly rare. And the only explanation that we're getting now is a very technical one. It has to do with the surge in tension in the Spanish power grid. And this affects Portugal because Portugal is connected to the Spanish power grid. Now, we don't know what exactly caused that. The Prime Minister is saying that any options on the table. The Portuguese Prime Minister has ruled out any kind of theory that there was anything nefarious behind this. Zelensky has offered his assistance to the investigation. So that kind of shows you where the theories are. And France has offered the other kind of side of this, in that they have a network that is capable of dealing with problems like this, because it is a mixed network that has nuclear power and solar power, something that the Spanish grid doesn't have.
Well, that's, I suppose, one of the key questions from this as well, is that, what does it mean in terms of questions about energy security or indeed the drive for renewables?
Yeah, exactly. This really exposes the fragilities in infrastructure here. Lizzy mentioned Heathrow. That was a very well followed case here in the UK, and the dependency on kind of one backup generator, which was many people thought incredible that one of Europe's busiest airports had this fragility. Now this is an entire country. So there's a lot of questions, and still many of them unanswered. I think the communication strategy from the Spanish PM has been lacking.